This is CTV News.
Welcome back. A BC Supreme Court jury continues to watch undercover video of two alleged BC terrorists accused in the legislature bomb plot. The video shows John Nuttall and Amanda Carodi, and that brings us to our CTV News question of the day. Would you buy an alternative fuel vehicle? To have your say, cast a vote on our webpage, send us a tweet, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page. We'll bring you the results on CTV News at 6. And when we come back, the sexual assault trial for a suspended senator begins, and the pile-up on the Toronto highway that could have been so much worse. That's next. While no one likes to think of the worst-case scenario unfolding on a mountain, we know how important it is to be prepared. Today, Ann Liu from CTV Morning Live introduces us to the team that works behind the scenes on the slopes to ensure our safety. When we come back, the search for clues to what brought down that German passenger plane in the Alps, and another honor for Canada's former Sergeant-at-Arms, Kevin Vickers. That's next, and still to come. Shocking video of even more shocking stats on distracted driving amongst teens. That's later. Mounties in Alberta have arrested a teenager suspected of leaving the country to fight along ISIS. The 17-year-old boy was brought to the Beaumont RCMP detachment after being arrested in the small town just south of Edmonton yesterday. He can't be identified, but Mounties confirm he's facing charges of attempting to leave Canada and to participate in activity of terrorist groups. Suicide bombers hit two mosques controlled by Shiite rebels in the Yemeni capital today, killing at least 137 people and wounding another 350. A group claiming to be a Yemeni branch of ISIS carried out the bombings and warned of a, quote, upcoming flood of attacks against rebels. The four bombers attacked the mosque during Friday midday prayer, the most crowded time of the week. Vancouver-born Hollywood heartthrob Ryan Reynolds is filming his latest movie in Vancouver, but it's not all good news. It's going to shut down a major commuter route. The Georgia Viaduct will be closed weekdays from 5 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And that brings us to our CTV News question of the day. Do you agree with Vancouver closing a major artery to film a movie? To have your say, cast a vote on our webpage, send us a tweet, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page. We'll bring you the results on CTV News at 6.
It's tough. It's emotional. He's, to me, Neil's more than a friend. He's more than an ex-colleague. He's like a brother.
Former Calgary teacher Neil Bantelman has been sentenced to 10 years in jail in Jakarta, Indonesia, for the sexual assault of a child. It's a charge that many people believe was falsely laid, and some say had not been proven. But this morning the verdict came in, and many supporters in Calgary and around the world could not believe the outcome. Guilty. Longtime friend and co-worker Joel Chalifot has been in close contact with Bantelman and his family since the charges were laid.
To see the injustice that's being done to such a quality individual, a good, humane person, it's devastating in a lot of ways. So yeah, I've been floored. It's been a tough morning for a lot of people.
Tough can't even describe what Neil Bantelman will now be faced with in prison. But this harsh sentencing is no surprise, the way the court system in Indonesia has been handling the case.
The trial seemed to be filled with injustices, a media ban, non-acceptance of medical evidence to show that there was no abuse. There's a number of items that that point in the direction of that there was no justice in this particular case.
Frustrated and helpless, Bantelman's friends and family can only now continue to look for alternative solutions. Neil Bantelman has been in custody since July 2014. The news of today's sentencing has hit hard to Bantelman's family and supporters from across the world. What's next? Many are hoping for more support from the federal government to lower Neil's sentence or simply to let him free. For State News File, I'm Chacon. Well, welcome back. The last couple of days have been extremely cold in the city, and this is due to a cold mass that is covering a large part of North America. Now, before I go into more detail with that, let's take a look at how the rest of the country is doing. Let's start off here with British Columbia. A very nice high-pressure system in the south making for some nice stable weather. Now, if you were me, you might want to be there in Vancouver because the weather is looking good. Now, I can't say the same the more east we go. Looking at Edmonton, Regina, we're seeing temperatures in the -17, -20, extremely cold, and this is because of that cold air mass. I'll explain a little bit more. Let's take a look at the East Coast. Now, we actually have a cold front and a warm front touching in, and we're actually getting a low-pressure system, making for some very unstable weather. We have a weather warning right here in southern Ontario with the snow squall, heavy snow mixed with snow and wind. Now, with all this cold weather, let's take a look at some nice warm places you would rather be. Now, the weather in the city is not too bad. We're sitting at -8 and partly cloudy. There is a wind of 7 kilometers an hour coming in from the northwest. And later this evening, we'll have clear skies. Now, let's take a look at what I was talking about earlier temperature-wise here. And we see this in the province. We have some very cold temperatures, and this is due to an air mass. It's kind of like a really cold blanket covering our province and a lot of North America. But it kind of fades off the more south we go, and we're really seeing that in Banff, Calgary. It's cold, but not extremely cold. So it is going to get better. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. And now we're really seeing this here. We have a high of -8. Tonight, tomorrow, also a high of 8 with a low of 11. And looking at Sunday, we have a high of -10 and a low of 15. Now, this is where we have the change going into next week. Monday and Tuesday, we have a high of -4, which is pretty good. But guess what? It gets better. Look at Tuesday, a high of -1. Almost perfect weather for skiing or snowboarding. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at our snow report.